Legend of Total War here, and today we've got a Saving a Disaster situation playing as Karaza Karak going up against the Bloody Hands. So, the balance of power looks even, but the situation is super bad. Now, it's quite possible that this battle here, we would straight up just lose the fight in the first place, but even if we did win it, the casualties would be so horrendous that it wouldn't even be worth fighting. So, what's happened? Well, they've attacked the settlement, but Thorgrim Grudgebearer is standing outside the settlement, and they've bypassed his zone of control. If you can see, that's the attacker right there. Thorgrim is going to show up from behind them. So naturally, we're not going to get time to utilize all his artillery. You know, all of the strength of our army is really here, and with that cut off, they're just going to turn around and charge at us immediately, and we're not going to get much of a chance to fight. And there is a ton of cavalry here that's just going to straight up wreck us. So, we could sit here and try to fight this battle, and pretty much no matter what we do, we'll either lose it, or we'll take horrendous damage, or we could go with option C, and deliberately lose the battle, but save Thorgrim Grudgebearer's army, and then attack them over the end turn to a situation that'll suit us rather than them. And that, I think, is the best situation. It is usually much better to take a good defeat than a bad victory. Bad victories should be avoided like the plague. Some people will just think that you always have to win battles. Not always the case. If a battle isn't worth fighting, don't fight it. Unfortunately, we don't get the choice to just not fight this one. We have to, because there's no withdrawal, and you can't just tell Thorgrim to not show up, which would have been ideal as well. So we have to come around with a workaround. So how do we get Thorgrim's army off the battlefield without being able to withdraw him? Because the option will not be available there. This is a last stand. There is a slight workaround, which I very, very, very rarely do, because it's only a last resort, and that is to immediately concede defeat. Because what happens there is that any unit that's not on the battlefield does not take any damage. Now, the downside here is that because there's 5 pieces of artillery in Thorgrim's army, there's still a chance that they're going to just get straight up captured. So that could still happen. But none of his other units are going to take any casualties. That's actually extremely unlucky that 2 of them got captured. And also one of the items. But that's still better than the damage that we would have taken if we had fought the battle. Because even if we had won, we would have taken horrendous damage. And now that we have the opportunity to be on the attack, I can go in there and do it my way. Fight the battles on my term. Alright, so... Ooh. Okay. Alright, let's have a look. So yeah, that really sucks that 2 of the grudge throwers got captured. That's super, super unlucky. But, you know, that's just what happens. Sometimes you gotta suffer these things. You know, next time don't you get yourself into a shit position like that where you can get attacked. Anyway, so now we have to try to go about retaking the settlement. So, first thing, just get out of that position. And let's put this guy in there. And we are able to get some Regiment of Renown. I will recruit all 3 of them. Let's merge these Dwarf Warriors. Yeah, I'll get all 3, because you got money. Okay. Because this is pretty much an emergency situation. Capturing Black Crag by turn 35 is really good. This campaign seems to be going pretty well. You've even got Mount Gunbad, so that's pretty good stuff. Not building walls there, that's probably how you are able to, I guess, finance another army, but you really should build walls. Otherwise, this kind of stuff's going to start happening to you pretty regularly. You got to be more careful. The thing is with dwarfs is to expand slowly. If you expand too quickly, you'll end up getting to about this size here, and then just be trading settlements back and forth constantly. The minor settlements, at least. The major settlements won't fall. Anyway, let's which army is not inside the settlement? I think this one here is. Alright, go for him first, and we'll... Hang on, let me have a look. You got Lightning Strike, right? Yeah, cool. You definitely need to get Inspirational Leader. 15% extra casualty replenishment for dwarves is crucial.
Destroy them.
Okay, and Lightning Strike it. Now we can fight this on our terms. Because with the dwarves, like, they are horrendous at dealing with, like, ambushes or reinforcements coming in super slowly, that kind of stuff. They need time to get set up. If you don't give them that time that they need to set up, especially if you're running with a lot of artillery, you're just going to die. Alright, where are we going to set up? Could probably utilize that there. Of course I'm going to corner camp, because that just works really well. And we have another fight to do right after this. And since it's on legendary difficulty, you can pretty much always assume there is always going to be another fight. So let's get the artillery down to here. They'll dick around a little bit. I think just one unit there should be enough to hold that position. We don't want to lose any of these heroes, but we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to take that settlement back. Because some philosophies about this game that can serve you well going into the, difficult situations. No settlement is worth more than your army, unless your army is deliberately like garbage. Right? If it's your main army, it's not worth sacrificing it for any minor settlement, or any major settlement for that matter, unless it's like your last settlement. Then of course you gotta fight for it for dear life. So, I don't know what happened the turn of that attack. What happened, like, why was he standing so close to the settlement, not in the settlement, I don't know. But if you were trying to rush back to save the settlement, that was definitely the wrong way to go about it. If you couldn't actually make it into the settlement, that was a huge mistake. Because I could assume that you didn't just capture the settlement because the garrison was at full strength. What I could only assume was that you had maybe just captured Black Crag, and then you saw that Wurzag was on his way to Iron Rock, and then you beelined over there, but you didn't force march, which was good, because if you did force march, I wouldn't have been able to pull off what I did, because it would have wiped out the entire army. And you just thought, I have to save the settlement at all costs because of Iron Rock. That was a mistake. What you should have done was let them take Iron Rock, stand nearby in ambush stance, and just capture it the next turn. Okay, if it's a tier 3 settlement, oh well. You didn't build walls. These things happen. If it was tier 2 settlement, oh well, these things happen. But it's not worth sacrificing your army to desperately save a minor city. It's just not worth it. Your armies are too precious. Okay, yeah, definitely want to prioritize shooting the Savage Orc Boar Boys, because they're super vulnerable to missiles. These guys should actually have been over there. But if I had put them over here, maybe they would have attacked over here instead. Yeah, go after the pump wagons there. Black Orc big boss there. Then again, the Slayers are totally taking out that pump wagon, which is also good. Guy's taking out a lot of damage. Okay, pull this guy out. He's taking too much damage now. Probably don't want to kill the general, because they'll just get another one. We're not going to be able to pursue this army. However, killing the the big boss, that would be a good idea. We certainly want to run down as many units as possible. So get the Slayers in on that. Since they're I think they're faster than the greenskin units. Alright, here come the army losses. Yeah, try to get rid of the big boss. You really don't want that dude getting away. Shit, I may not have enough range on that. Come on, you can do it. Kill him. Good. Really important to kill that dude. Alright, and the Slayers, just run down as many as possible. I'm not going to be able to run down all of them, but just get what we can. Alright, so speed 40, speed 31. Got a fair bit of distance to cover. Try to run down. No one else is going to be able to catch anything. They might do it. The thing is, they're also tired. Because yes, since we're not going to really be able to pursue them, I did see that Carrick-Dron didn't have at least the startings of walls, so it's not going to be super well defended. And since I've already used up all the Regiment of Renown, you're not going to have any extra, so we just need to damage them enough that they're not going to feel ballsy enough to make that attack. I don't think we're going to make it. No, I don't think so. Oh, no, there's no way. They've still got quite a bit. No, it's not going to cover. Still, the Dragonback Slayers, they did well. They nearly got wiped out themselves, but they killed a lot of them. The artillery, of course, the highest numbers of kills. Okay. But yeah, quite a few of them did get away. Money's important, but it's... yeah, you're gonna need money.
Throw bearers! Let's march!
Alright, good. He's not actually able to reach Carrick-Dron anyway. So, that'll mean, assuming we win at Iron Rock, you should be able to use the underway to jump ahead of him. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Might be important as well if you recruit a Lord here, and then you have Thorgrim jump behind him, and then use the Lord to attack, because usually what will happen is it'll reinforce, he'll retreat behind Thorgrim, but still be able to reinforce on the second attack as well. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that very well. Yeah, you definitely gotta want Inspirational Leader. And... doesn't really matter that much. Okay, now we're gonna go up against Wurzag. Now his army's much smaller. We didn't lose any units, but a lot of units took some damage.
Wipe out the trespasses!
Based on that, I'd say the bounce power is actually in our favor, that we could auto-resolve it. But, especially with that lightning strike, just put a little bit over. But, let's fight it. And most of them are just Savage Orc Boy Biggins. Which, if we corner camp, they're not really going to be able to do anything. And then from there, you got the settlement back. It's probably gone down a level, but you know, these things happen. But the most important thing is, at least the majority of your army is alive. Because I guarantee you weren't going to get out of that one without some serious damage. It wasn't going to happen. They had just straight up gotcha with that one. Gotta be careful not to lose Thorgrim. Alright. And just wait for them to show up. So some of these units are wiped out. I did notice you got a barracks nearby at Varenka Hills. Oh, wait. Is it Varenka Hills you got? Or was the other one? I don't know. So any of the dwarf warriors that get wiped out, they can be replaced. But at least it'll get rid of Wurzag's army as well. And that's another thing as well. If you see them coming after your minor settlement, sometimes you can use minor settlements as like a trap. Because if they occupy the settlement, right, you don't have to go chasing after them after you've defeated them. Because they're just straight up dead. So sometimes you can use your minor settlements as bait for the enemy. So don't be too worried about having to defend every single settlement for dear life. It could actually be a massive trap. You know, suffering a minor defeat, in the grand scheme of things, might actually help you. Because there's a distinction to be made between tactical victories and tactical defeats, and strategic victories and strategic defeats. There can be times where a tactical victory is actually a strategic defeat, and times where a tactical defeat is actually a strategic victory. Now, don't get me wrong. What we did at initially, that was not a strategic victory. That was avoiding a strategic defeat. That's all. We just mitigated our losses. That's all. Now we're dishing out the tactical and strategic victory, because not only are we getting the city back, but we're wiping out Wurzag's army. Which is pretty damn dangerous. So yeah, definitely want to be focusing on getting rid of the Orc Boar boys. Oh, they got a troll. Get rid of that thing. Slayers will sort them out. Somewhat. Okay, now let's aim for Wurzag. Hopefully he stops twirling around. Stop him from moving, make it a lot easier to hit him. And Wurzag's gone. Alright, cool. And now we can start a bit of a rout with some of their units. Just get them off the battlefield. That would be good. This is on very hard battle difficulty, right? Yeah. I guess another thing on top of that is that your army wasn't at full strength in the first place, so that's another reason not to just go rushing into another fight. Good, we don't need to go running any of them down. That unit there's wiped out, but it's just easy replaced regiment of renown. Decisive victory, there we go, good stuff. So, we turned a really quite fucked situation into a much more manageable situation by putting them on the defense and us on the attack. Very important to do that, especially when playing as dwarves. You really don't want to be the defender in as many situations as possible, unless you're, holed up in your settlements. If they're besieging as a walled city, just let them come. But out in the field, you do not want to be caught by any of the armies out here. It's not good. Because the AI doesn't want to fight fair. They'll usually send 2 armies to take on your 1. They'll overwhelm you. Okay. And there we go. We got it back. So, the settlement's not damaged, but, I don't know if it was at tier 3 or at tier 2 when it got lost. But, you can now begin rebuilding. I highly recommend getting rid of one of these buildings here and building walls, because greenskins, anyone that can use the underway can see Actually, just any faction in the game can see your undefended settlements, and they will literally beeline for your weakest settlements because they're only looking for easy wins. You have to deny them those easy wins and make sure they've got the walls, especially as the dwarves. As a race like the High Elves, where races can't actually use the underway, in Ulth 1, you don't need to build walls everywhere, especially on the inner donut. I usually don't build walls, except for, like, on the northern part in, like, Kothik. That's, you know, high elf strategies. But I'm just saying, as the dwarves, pretty much always build walls. Anyway, that's the end of this one, guys. It was unfortunate what happened with the grudge throwers, but they're not exactly expensive units. You could theoretically recruit them in 2 turns if you sit around here. But that one there's a little bit of a concern as well. Hopefully they don't attack you over the end turn. But if they did, you should be able to handle it, apart from the Cygors. They definitely look nasty. And I would highly recommend as well, keep putting points into Inspirational Leader. But anyway, that's enough from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope you learnt something, and we'll see you next time, fuckers.